Hello and welcome to the second episode of the Kung Fu Physicist. My name is Eric Alicia. I am the Kung Fu Physicist. What does that mean? I've been training Wing Chun for many years, about 17 years, and I've been doing physics for the same time-ish. No, maybe 15 years. Alright, so anyway, this is our second episode. I think I got my setup a little bit nicer this time, but I'm not quite sure. So, what I've got here is I got my computer, I've got my main camera here, so that's what I'm going to post later on YouTube. So hopefully the computer audio works better this time, because the first time the iPhone audio was really bad, but also my phone kind of sucks. So, I don't know what else to say about that. Maybe I need a new phone. That's what everybody says. If you would like me to get a new phone, then buy me a new phone. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead. I'm going to go over this week's episode, or today's episode, should I say. As always, we're going to do self-defense tips and physics tips. We're also going to cover today the status of the IWTA in the U.S., okay, what's going on with us, how many schools we have, and so on and so forth, and why we stay in the IWTA and why we love it here, okay? But first of all, I'm going to go over some user comments from our first videos, all right? So, I want to thank those of you who interacted with me. If you do want me to respond to your comments and stuff, please leave me a comment either on Facebook. I would appreciate it on YouTube. Maybe consolidate them all in one spot. Excuse me. But yeah, let's say comments on YouTube. Put comments in the YouTube feed, and I will read comments from the YouTube feed only from this point forward. So please, guys, interact with us on YouTube. You can find us at Wing Chun, Illinois on YouTube. You'll see our page there. And I will have the Kung Fu Physicist podcast there. I'm also on Spotify now. So if you're listening to me on Spotify, you can also put comments there, but I haven't figured that one out quite yet. So please leave comments there. I'm going to figure out how to get to them. Should be simple, but it's not always so simple. All right. First up for my first comment of the week, Mr. Ivan Phillips. Good to hear from you, Ivan. I've missed you. All right, nice. I have a couple items of feedback. I noticed that the audio and video were not synced. Yeah, I totally screwed that up last time. Something was wrong with my iPhone. I'll skip through that. And regarding the lead topic, I thought you would spend more time talking about avoiding going to the ground in self-defense. Yes, so let's start with this, and then I'll finish the rest of his comment. Actually, let's finish the comment first. By the way, Sam Harris just came out with a podcast episode about self-defense in which he and his guests argued for the sports martial arts, e.g. boxing and jiu-jitsu, model over the traditional martial arts because they enable people to go all out during training and because they are tested by MMA. All right. Thank you very much, Ivan. So I'll respond to these right now. First of all, for the topic of not going to the ground in self-defense. In Wing Chun, we do have ground fighting. We have a complete ground fighting program. But it's all about the focus of what we are trying to do. Okay? In Wing Chun, we are a self-defense based art. So that means that we are going to assume that there is more than one person potentially attacking us. Okay? So what does that mean for going to the ground? Well, in real life, for those of you who have been in real situations, once things go to the ground and you're in a grappling situation or something like this, as long as you are facing a single person and that person is disarmed or doesn't have a weapon on them, then grappling and locks and holds are really beneficial. But the problem is they do require you to have a significant amount of physical strength, okay? And the person can get away and kick you, you can slip and fall. Secondly, what is the ground? What is it? Okay, so everyone has this idea, oh, go to the ground, go to the ground. In our studio, we have mats down on the ground. They're a little bit harder mats. We purposely chose harder ones to simulate wood floors, but also give a little bit of give for when people fall and stuff. But going to the ground in a self-defense situation, where are you standing? Are you in a bar? Is the ground covered in booze or maybe even broken glass? Are you in an industrial setting where the ground is covered in, I don't know, tacks, nails, other types of, I don't know, caustic liquids? It's like, where are you going to be during this confrontation? And the truth is that you don't know where you're going to be, okay? So you could attempt to go to the ground and you yourself get severely injured just simply by both of you falling over. So that is why we train to avoid going to the ground and train how to not go to the ground, which is most important. However, we do have a complete ground fighting system in Wing Chun Kung Fu, especially in Leung Ting Wing Chun, that mainly deals with, if we do fall down, how to get out of it and get back up quickly, all right? So that was number one, was like, what is the ground? Is it a safe place for you to roll around on? And typically the answer is no in real life. Number two, if there is more than one person, so like I said first, singular opponent, no weapon. Okay, if there's more than one person and you, or if you are not quite sure that that person does not have a weapon, or if they do have a weapon, especially a knife or a box cutter, or anything, any kind of blade, like a little switchblade, whatever they have, grappling and going to the ground and holding someone down is very, very dangerous. It's extremely dangerous. As long as the other person is somebody that you know you've already agreed to fight with or something, then it's more like a play. It's a dominance game, okay? It's like ritualistic male combat or something like that. But we're talking about self-defense, and that's a different thing. So that's why we try to do our best to avoid going to the ground, to train these methods of not being taken down, okay? All right, so that was one part of the comment. And then he argued for the sport martial arts because they enable people to go all out during training, and because they are tested by MMA. So, boxing, jiu-jitsu, first of all, jiu-jitsu came from a traditional martial art, and I'm actually going to talk about that in the podcast today, later. And boxing does have traditional elements to it. Boxing is a very old art. It's really old, and it is a martial art. But let's just say, these things, I would say that there's crucial elements to them that are really important in self-defense. So, for instance, being able to really try and exert yourself and really go at it to get that adrenaline and to go forward and to practice that aspect of the real fight, I would have to agree on that. Boxing is a great sport. It's pretty much the closest thing to Wing Chun. Like, real Wing Chun and boxing are really closely related. The only difference is we don't have rules. So, as far as... hold on, where was I going with that? I lost my train of thought. Yes, so the element of facing that opponent, facing that fear of someone coming at you, that is critical in self-defense. However, they are tested by MMA. This is a big, I would say, fallacy. This is a big critical error that people make. Because MMA is a sport. It's a sport, okay? You get to test techniques in the lens of this sport, okay? You're going at it. Both people they start off on the other side of the ring, okay? They almost never start a ring where someone's like right next to each other, except for grappling matches. And in those matches, they aren't allowed to strike typically. But everything is very set, very controlled. They're never tested. They're never tested ever. I'll say this. If we had MMA, there were two opponents. One of them is a trained fighter. Let's say jiu-jitsu, boxing, I don't know, Wing Chun, who cares? in sport aspect, okay? Let's say karate, whatever, okay? There's one fighter. He's dressed up, he's ripped, okay? The other fighter, he's not going to know if, number one, what the weight class is of the other person. Number two, he's not going to know if he's facing more than one person or not, okay? Number three, he's not going to know if those people are armed. And number four, he's not going to know if during the fight another person may join in, okay? So, if you can make MMA in that way, then yes, I would agree they are tested. However, nobody would ever do that because that fighter would die while he was testing it. Because if one of those people had a gun or a knife, or while he's busy dealing with two, someone else jumps in from the audience or whatever and just decides to stab him or kick him in the back of the head, and then everyone jumps in and stomps him to death, right? That's tested. So what are you talking about by tested, right? Okay, everything, it's like this big attitude, like, yeah, this is tested. It's not tested, all right? The only way to really test things, unfortunately, is to have them happen to you in real life. And for better or worse, that is literally the only way to see if something happens and to have that perspective. So that's why it's important to find an instructor that does have that perspective if you're interested in self-defense. Now, I'm not saying that these people aren't great athletes. Some of my favorite fighters are boxers. I really appreciate them. Tyson, his fighting abilities are just amazing. I love Mayweather. He's awesome. Muhammad Ali is just great. I think Mayweather right now, though, is one of my favorite fighters, and a lot of the techniques he uses are very similar to Wing Chun. And he's just so technical and so amazing. Just the footwork, he makes people that are really good just look like amateur when they're against him. Now, you can agree or disagree with me on that. I'm not here to talk about sports. But I do think that a sport fighter could be good in a self-defense situation if they're trained for self-defense. But I don't remember the names or the incidents, but I do know there was recently, within the last couple years, there was an MMA fighter who was training, and unfortunately for this guy, very sadly, he witnessed a street brawl, and he decided he was going to jump in. Now, I don't know the extent of his training, but I do know that he was competing in MMA. He decided to jump in. Someone hit him in the back of the head. He fell down. These guys stomped the living crap out of him, and he went into a coma, and then he later passed away. So it's like, if you think in the lens that this sport is going to help me in a real world situation, that is the problem, all right? You have to realize whether you're doing a sport or whether you're practicing a real self-defense art. Okay, and Christian Onimus, I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. I agree completely. Thank you, Christian. Thank you for interacting with our stream here. All right. So, let's go on to the IWTA, all right? As you guys may or may not know, we are part of the International Wing Tsun Association here at Wing Tsun, Illinois. My favorite part about this association is the quality of the training. I started getting into Wing Chun because of the self-defense aspect, because I was in the military, and I kept running into real-world situations where my jiu-jitsu and taekwondo training were completely useless to me, including one I'm going to shout out to my buddy Darnell. He's currently living in North Carolina. I hope to see him here soon. I'm going to shout out to my buddy Darnell. Me and him got in a fight where I was completely useless, and he was just wrecking these guys. But there were 3 of them versus us 2. Unfortunately, I had been training in a sport aspect and wasn't used to this idea, and I was completely useless in this fight. It was extremely embarrassing to have a black belt and be pathetic and not be able to do anything. So anyway, during that fight, they tried to crush his head. At least I stopped him from crushing his head with a giant mixer. It was in Peace Music Store in South Korea, like peace, not war. So it was pretty ironic where we got in our fight. But anyway, I did manage to prevent them from crushing his head with a mixer. I mean, I don't know why a music store would be the location of this fight, but it happened. But anyway, during that fight, we were very lucky because when the cops came later, they did find switchblades that were on a couple of the guys. So it only would have taken a second for one of them to draw one of those out, and we could have been really severely injured, right? So my whole aspect going into it was I want something practical, I want something that works, and in the IWTA, we're under Grandmaster Leung Ting, and he is all about practicality. The main thing I love about him is that my first seminar with him, he said to me, Sijo came in and he said, well, he didn't just say to me, he was talking to everyone. He's like, why are you listening to me? I could be full of shit, is essentially what he said. And I was like, huh? And he's like, don't do something because I say it. Do it because it works. And that was the biggest takeaway from my first seminar with him ever. And everything he talks about is, does it work? Does it not work? It doesn't matter if people are name dropping. Oh, I trained from this guy and that guy. He said, it doesn't matter who it is. If you can't do it, then who cares, right? So everything about him is about practicality. And the IWTA keeps this really high standard in Wing Chun Kung Fu. It's an extremely high standard that we still strive to meet in our school. We're always pushing. Of course, we don't want our students to go to higher level schools in like Texas or in Hong Kong and them to be like, oh, what are these Sifus teaching these guys? What Sifu Eric and Sifu Germa, what are they doing? So, so we also strive to keep really high level of quality in our students. And that's what I just love about it the most, the emphasis on the quality. So some people get frustrated because it's like, oh, it's hard to advance and stuff like that. Yeah, it is hard to advance, but there's a reason for that. And that's why we have so many really just highly skilled instructors. Anyone who walks into any IWTA school will see the level of quality that we have and what we push for, right? I even have a couple students that they came from different lineages, and right away that was the thing they noticed. So on that, the reason for the quality in our system in the International Wing Tsun Association, the main and biggest thing, because we're following Sijo, is that it is practical martial arts versus traditional. So many forms of Wing Chun are traditional. So what does that mean? Well, I did it because my Sifu did it. And Sifu does it because Grandmaster Yitman does it. Okay, well, Grandmaster Yitman did it this way, so that's the way I'm going to do it. This is called traditional. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's actually pretty cool. And for those people who want to keep the art like the exact same way it was in Hong Kong, I think that's pretty... It's awesome. It's a good venture. One thing people notice when they come in here to our schools or other schools, it's like, okay, why are you doing that move? And they're like, well, my Sifu just told me to do it this way. And we're like, yeah, but why? And they're like, I don't know, right? So we talk about the function of the movements, the reasoning behind the movements, and why they work so well. So, practical versus traditional. Leung Ting Wing Chun is a practical martial art. The other styles, I can't speak for any of them, but some of them are traditional. Some of them may also be practical, right? It's just what you want, what you're looking for. And of course, so let's see here. Let's talk about some of our current IWTA schools. Of course, we've got around the Chicagoland area, there's actually a lot of schools. I want to shout out to Sifu Brian Carter and Brad Walker in DuPage. So they do DuPage Wing Chun. We've got Sifu John and Sifu Evgeny, who are in Palatine. So they also have a school around here. We've got our school that's here in Glenview. So we're all around the Chicago area, but hopefully one day we'll be able to open a branch in the city. Then we have Sifu and Master Mike Adams, who's down in Bloomington. He is my Sigong, and he's also a big inspiration for our programs here. We do everything following him, and he is one of the sole reasons that the Wing Chun Kung Fu scene under Leung Ting is still alive in the Chicagoland area. So he does fantastic work keeping us all motivated, and he's so knowledgeable. It's just amazing. Let's see, I believe we have of course, in San Antonio, Texas, Sifu Will Parker is there. And Sifu Will is just an amazingly skilled practitioner. He's a 6th level, master level, so Master Will Parker. His speed is just phenomenal. It's just crazy, like the type of stuff he can do. And his application of the system is just amazing. It's just so good. He moves so fast, even I can't see him still. Sometimes he shows me something, and I'm like, what just happened? And it's just the speed and the precision that he has is phenomenal. I don't know if I did a shout out to Sifu Durrell in Peoria. He's a Marine, so I'll say hoorah to him. All right, so Sifu Durrell, I know he works a lot, but he's also very dedicated. And that's one more thing. In the IWTA, we have a lot of super dedicated instructors that are they really do nothing but want to focus on the quality. And they're just super nice people. They want to help everyone get better. And that's really what I love about staying in the system. Let's see, I do not have too much time left today, so it's going to be a very short podcast. But shout out to Sifu Joseph in San Francisco. And of course, my Wing Chun brother, Sifu Claudio Mascarenhas, who I'm filming Tiro Certo with him. I did my filming, I'm editing it. And he has schools in New York City and in Rio de Janeiro. Saw his school he's setting up in Rio, which looks phenomenal. Also, Sifu Devin Harper, who is up in... Oh, man, I'm blanking on the city right now. Davis, California. Okay, so up near Sacramento. Yes. That's what I can think of off the top of my head. Oh, and I do want to shout out to Josh, Jeff, and Keith, who visited us from Montana just yesterday. Unfortunately, their Sifu has passed away, and they're interested in restarting a branch in Montana. So I wish nothing but the best of luck for these guys. So if you're in Montana, there may be a school near you very soon. Okay, so I've got a lot to talk about, but I do not have much time. I only have 10 minutes left, essentially. Maybe only 5 minutes. So this is going to be a super short one today, guys. I apologize. The other thing I love about the IWTA is being able to go to Europe and train with amazing Sifus over there. Sifu Stanislav Bagalev, as always, hosts us over there and just shows us amazing stuff. He's an amazing teacher. I just love learning from him. We're going to Sozopol this year to train with him in Sozopol. The other years I got to meet Sifu Thomas Schrun, which is my original Sigong. So I was really honored to meet him and get to train with him. And of course, training and meeting with several times Sifu Oliver Koenig. These guys are just so amazing, and what they're doing in the IWTO is such an inspiration. And I just love being able to have a good relationship with them and be able to train over there and train over here. And we all make each other better, and it's just such a good supportive community, which I love. All right, so let's get to this. I got to wrap it up. Self-defense tip of the day. Appear confident. Okay, a lot of people will tell you, be confident. Be confident. What the hell does that mean? You don't know what that means, all right? Appear confident. That's something you can do, all right? How do you appear confident? Well, when you're looking at your phone, your head is actually tilted down and forward. This is a sign of, I don't know, what's the opposite of confidence? I don't know, weakness? Let's just say weakness. I can't think of the opposite word right now. So this is not a sign of confidence, let's just say that, is having the head tilted down. Sign of confidence, having the head up. So if you're worried about somebody, coming up and approaching you, and you have your phone out, make a simple thing, okay? Look up and look around. Second thing of confidence, eye contact, all right? Now, I'm not talking about staring somebody down. That's a sign of being psychotic, all right? But make eye contact, smile, and continue forward, all right? Or don't smile. Just make eye contact for a second and continue what you're doing without showing any other motion. That's a sign of confidence, all right? Sign of awareness. Sign of not confidence is when you see that eye contact, you look away very quickly and you kind of like shrug and shoulder away, all right? That's a what's called like a victim behavior, or a I think a victim behavior is what it's called. Thirdly, how to appear confident. Of course, standing up straight, head up, don't bend down, is the appearance of awareness, all right? So the eye contact thing is there, but also look around. Just look around left and right if you guys are walking around. It makes it seem like you're less of a target, okay? So we can do that for your confidence. So remember, tip of the day, appear confident. You don't have to be confident. You just have to look confident, all right? If somebody looks confident, they look like a harder target, all right? It's like, oh, well, people shouldn't be going after other people. I agree with that, but also this is reality, so you just have to deal with the hand that's rolled. And some people are out to mug other people or hurt other people for whatever reason. If they see someone that looks confident, they are less likely to attack them. Yeah. All right. Finally, physics tip of the day. I'm going to go full nerd. We're going to go atomic numbers and mass numbers, okay, in the elements. So let's take the simplest element, hydrogen, okay? Hydrogen, the atomic number is 1. Okay, helium, the atomic number is 2. Okay, and what does the atomic number mean? That means the number of protons that are in the atom, all right? So, let's talk about hydrogen. So, basic hydrogen has 1 proton and 0 neutrons. So, this hydrogen has a mass number of 1, because 1 plus 0 makes 1. So, this is called hydrogen 1, okay? Some people call it protium, all right, because it's just a proton. Okay, so then there's hydrogen 2, okay? That means that it has 1 proton and 1 neutron. This means it's an isotope. So an isotope has the same number of protons, but a different number of neutrons, okay? Hope you all are following this. I know this is a lot, but it's something fun. Remember, isotope, same number of protons. Tope, protons, right? So hydrogen 1 is just called hydrogen. Hydrogen 2 is called deuterium, because there's 2. Hydrogen 3 is 1 proton and 2 neutrons, and that's called tritium, okay? And that's what leaks out of the reactors when things go wrong, okay? It's called tritium. All right, so let's go with an isotone. An isotone has the same number of neutrons. So tritium, or H3, and basic helium, which has 2 protons and 2 neutrons, those are isotones because, sorry, I had to re-record my video again. So, same number of neutrons, so tritium, H3, and helium, He4, I guess you say. That's the basic form of helium. 2 neutrons, 2 neutrons, okay? So those are isotones, same number of neutrons. So isomers are the same number of mass. So that's that number at the end. So let's say there's a helium nucleus that's lost one of its neutrons. So it has 2 protons and 1 neutron. So that helium is called helium-3, okay? So tritium also has a mass number of 3 because it has 1 proton and 2 neutrons. So tritium and helium-3 are isomers because they have the same number of mass. Isomer, same mass number. Okay? All right. I hope I didn't blow your minds with that. Okay? Thank you for joining me for our second episode of the Kung Fu Physicist. I will see you guys next time. And I don't know when that's going to be. Maybe I should schedule these. Maybe have a specific time that I do them. I'm still not sure, the nature of support. Again, we're totally winging this podcast. If you can please support us, all you need to do is press the like button on Facebook, the like button on YouTube, or give us some ratings on Spotify. Okay? I'm going to try to get to the Apple podcast, and I'll try to appear more places, and we'll let you know how that goes. But yeah, for now, thanks for joining us, and look forward to seeing you guys next time.